Hello, good morning. I welcome you all for my today's class. So today we are going to discuss on a topic called endoscopy in gynecology. Endoscopy has occupied in most of the branches of medical science. In advances, it is taking because of the advantages of endoscopy. Nowadays, it is used in for most of the surgical procedures in gynecology as well as in general surgery and in other branches of medicine too. So, endoscopy has become an essential armamentarium in the diagnostic evaluation of gynecological lesion as well as for operative procedures. So it is helping not only for the operative procedure but it is a important diagnostic lesion tool also, means we for the purpose of diagnosis as well as for the purpose of operation it is used. Is it diagnostic as well as operative procedures are there with the help of endoscope. Gynecological endoscopy includes the procedures like laparoscopy, hysteroscopy, salpingoscopy, falloposcopy, cystoscopy, caldoscopy, sigmoidoscopy and proctoscopy, etc. See, scopy means to visualize with the help of endoscope. If you are visualizing the hysteroscopy means with the help of endoscope, or hysteroscopy if you are visualizing the uterus, then that is called as hysteroscopy. Salpinge means the tubes. If you are visualizing the tubes, it is called as salpingoscopy. Fallopioscopy is a fallopian tube completely. Salpinge is a part of it. Cystoscopy means if you are visualizing the bladder, then it is called a cystoscopy. Caldoscopy is nothing but the visualization of a cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac or the POD, pouch of Douglas. Sigmoidoscopy, if you are visualizing the sigmoid column, then that is called as sigmoidoscopy. And proctoscopy, obviously, when you are visualizing the rectum, then that is called as proctoscopy. So with the help of endoscope we can go through all these procedures or different scopies or different visualization for the diagnostic purposes. So coming to first, very important and very common is the laparoscopy. You might have heard about the laparoscopical surgeries, laparoscopical procedures. Nowadays it is they are in trend now. Laparoscopy is a technique of, coming to its definition, laparoscopy is a technique of visualization of peritoneal cavity. It is a technique of visualization of peritoneal cavity by means of a fibro-optic endoscope introduced through the abdominal wall. So, if you are visualizing the peritoneal cavity with the help of endoscope, then that procedure is called as laparoscopy. So prior pneumoperitoneum is achieved by the introduction of carbon dioxide or air. So before performing this laparoscopy or endoscopy, first you have to create a pneumoperitoneum. Pneumo means the air, peritoneum is first you have to create pass or introduce the air into the peritoneal cavity. Then you can go for the procedure. For diagnostic purposes, either local or general anesthesia may be used, and its use is gradually widening both in the diagnostic as well as therapeutic field in the gynecology. Its indication includes diagnostic and the operative. So coming to its procedure, before that, first of all the instruments. So different instruments are there for the laparoscopic procedures, not like the general surgical procedure. It has its own different instruments. So coming to first instrument, which is called as Veress needle. Veress needle, see, this is in the diagram, you can see the Veress needle. So what's the use of Veress needle? It's used to inflate the air to the peritoneal cavity. So this Veress needle is useful to inflate the air into the peritoneal cavity, causing or introducing this to make the pneumoperitoneum. And it is introduced through the umbilicus, where there is the thinnest abdominal wall. See, in the diagram you can see how the Veress needle is passed through the umbilicus into the abdominal cavity, and with the help of this needle the air is passed or a pneumoperitoneum is created, which is the first step for any laparoscopic or endoscopic procedures. Next is the electronic lapro floater, you can see in the diagram. This is used to insufflate through the Veress needle. So since the Veress needle is connected to the electronic lapro floater. Why? Because it maintains a constant intra-abdominal pressure without exceeding the safety limit. So 15 mm of Hg is needed. So it maintains that constant intra-abdominal pressure and should not exceed the normal limit or safety limit also. And sometimes having the heating system to prevent the lowering the patient's body temperature. So if you are passing the air, either carbon dioxide or any air, then what happened, the air being cool, it can lower the body temperature of the patient. Thus, so with the help of electronic laprofloater, you can even maintain the temperature of the air to the normal body temperature of a patient. Thus there is no chances of the lowering of the body temperature of the patient. So you can maintain the body temperature of the patient by passing the normal or the body temperature air through it, heated air you can say. So this is all about electronic laprofloat. And then next is the trocars. Trocars, cannula. You might have heard about the trocars and cannulas. Yes, trocars permit access to the intraperitoneal cavity in which the instruments can pass. The trocar use should be adapted to the diameter of the telescope selected. See, so you cannot introduce the different instrument, take it out again introducing in the abdominal cavity. So it causes strain to the patient. It is a difficulty in introducing and again removing and introducing the different instruments. So to avoid that pain and to avoid that discomfort to the patient, we you introduce the trocars. And through the trocars have the diameter inside it. It has a space to pass other instruments or to pass telescope through it, so that we don't need to remove again and introduce different instrument. Directly we can introduce the trocars, and through the trocars we can pass different instruments, the telescope, etc. So that is about trocar. And here you can see the telescope. There are different sizes, each with a different use. They are used to visualize the peritoneal cavity. And here is the camera equipment. You can see here the camera equipment and the light source is also there. So it is connected to a screen and a monitor, and through there you can visualize the cavity properly through the monitor, and you can operate or do the procedure. And next is forceps and scissors. Yes, there are of two types, disposable and reusable. They can be either atraumatic or grasping forceps. See here, different types of forceps and different types of scissors are available here for the laparoscopic procedures. Through the trocar you can pass these type of instruments. See here, these are the different types of scissors, grasping forceps, and for cautery also it's there. Here you can see in the diagram, this is for grasping and this is for cutting the part. Different scissors are there, and this is for cauterization. You can hold it with and you can go for cauterization. So different types of forceps and different types of scissors are available. So next step after this is the creation of pneumoperitoneum. Yes, the abdominal wall is, the procedure goes like this. The abdominal wall is lifted by the hand and or by the grasping forceps. Pneumoperitoneum is created by the varus needle introduced to the umbilical area, and the needle is inserted in an oblique angle towards the uterine fundus. The negative pressure will allow the underlying structures to fall away. After making sure that the needle is in the correct position, airflow can be increased to 2.5 liters per minute till a pressure of 15 mm of Hg is achieved. So you can raise the pressure up to 15 mm of Hg. Next is about the after creation of pneumoperitoneum, you have to introduce the trocars. So once the intra-abdominal pressure reaches 15 mm of Hg, the main trocar is introduced. After removing the varus needle, you have to introduce the different types of trocars, and it is to be kept inside. Fourth is viewing the peritoneal cavity. Through the trocar, you can insert the telescope and you can visualize the peritoneal cavity. The omentum, bowel, bifurcation of the pelvic vessels should be evaluated to avoid injuries caused due to the introduction of varus needle or the trocars. The site of introduction of other trocars should be verified by the finger palpation and the transillumination of the abdominal wall to avoid injury to the epigastric vessels. Identify if there is any bleeding point. After the procedure, and then you have to perform the procedure. Then afterwards, after the procedure, carbon dioxide gas must be evacuated completely to reduce the post-operative pain. So you have created a pneumoperitoneum before. So after finishing the procedure, either diagnostic or operative, whatever the procedure is there, after finishing that main procedure, you have to evacuate the air completely, or you have to make the peritoneum normal by evacuating the air which you have introduced before. In the operative procedure, 1 or 2 bottles of Ringer's lactate are used to wash the peritoneal cavity after the laparoscopy, or leave 500 to 1000 ml of Ringer lactate to reduce the incidence of postoperative pain. So you can see here how the laparoscopy is introduced, and here the gas filled area is seen, and you can clearly visualize or you can perform the procedure. These are the laparoscopic instrument. Different you can see here the different types of forceps, different types of scissors. Here is the telescope, and here is a camera connected with it. See here, through the other opening you can pass the other instruments also, like telescope, and through talkers you can pass the different instruments. See here how these forceps are, how the different forceps are there. Here this is the cutting forceps of the used in the laparoscope, and this is the holding forceps, and this is the exact procedure of performing laparoscopy. Coming to the its indication, diagnostic indication includes in the infertility workup, peritubal adhesions, chromoperturbation, minimum endometriosis, ovulation stigma of the ovary before reversal of the sterilization procedures, for chronic pelvic pain, nature of a pelvic mass, whether it is fibroid or ovarian cyst, to diagnose an acute pelvic lesion, either it is ectopic pregnancy, acute appendicitis, acute salpingitis. Diagnosis and collection of pus for culture can be done with the help of a laparoscope. Follow-up of the pelvic surgery, that is a second look in cases of tuboplasty, ovarian malignancy, evaluation of therapy and endometriosis. Investigation protocol of amenorrhea, diagnosis of suspected Mullerian abnormalities, uterine perforation, etc. Timings of laparoscopy in infertility workup, it can be done in the pre-ovulatory period to facilitate chromoperturbation and also the diagnosis of the ovulation. However, in endometriosis, it is preferably done in the premenstrual period when the ectopic endometrial implants increases in the size. So that's all about laparoscopy. Thank you.